Hello and welcome to another episode of Moose's Gear Goo Review. I'm Moose, and today I have another knife review for you, and it's kind of a cool one. This has just come out, and it is a Blade HQ exclusive. It is the Kershaw Dash. The Kershaw Dash. Assisted opening knife. So, holy cow, this knife is awesome. So it was Black Friday, and I was farting around on the internet like I normally do. Whatever, it happens. And I decided to see if there's any knife deals, and all of a sudden this sucker popped up right on the Blade HQ website. And I was like, that thing looks sweet. I'd never seen it before. I knew it was brand new. It said it was an exclusive, and it was kind of a Black Friday deal. So I, being the sucker I am for new things, I pulled the trigger, and this is what I got. Now, it's big. It's bigger than what I'm normally used to, but it's not too big. But it's in the larger folder size for me personally. But there's a lot of similarities to some other Kershaw knives that I'll compare this to. That I really like some of the features as well. So, really interesting knife, and I'm excited to get into this one. So, first off, some specs. Overall length is 8 inches. The blade length is 3.5 inches. The cutting edge will probably be just under that at around 3.4 inches, but not exactly sure. The thickness of the blade is 0.12 inches thick. The overall handle length is 4.5 inches. And the handle thickness is just under half an inch at 0.48 inches. So that being said, looking at the blade, it is a drop point blade. It is flat ground. And it has a sweet looking stonewash, not much insignia or printing or lettering of any sort except for this small bit here. There are no thumb studs, and there's jimping on top, which I know some of Kershaw's knives don't always have jimping, and so it's really nice to see that on one of these sweet looking folders. The opening mechanism for this knife is a designated flipper because there are no thumb studs or a thumb hole, and it is Kershaw Speed Safe assisted opening, so it works excellent. You just push it, and once it gets past that point, it just shoots out. Super solid. The lockup is solid and great, and it just great feeling knife. It is a stonewash blade, plain edge, so there's no serrations, and if you can see, it looks for the most part a flat edge, but there's a ever so slight recurve right towards the handle on the blade. It's not a huge deal, but if you are going to sharpen it, you might want to take that into account just so you get the full length of the blade sharpened, because you might miss a spot if you're using a flat stone. The other thing, it has this nice decorative swedge, which is reminiscent of some other knives that Kershaw makes, and we'll talk about that. So now getting into the handle, it got these awesome red anodized aluminum handle scales. Really cool color, kind of a metallic, darker red. It's just cool. It has these really grippy Track Tech inserts as well as some machined grooves for style, and then it has kind of this white laser printing of the Kershaw logo with some like other decorative parts. It is a liner lock, and that is the locking mechanism on it, which works great. You can see the lockup there is at about 1/3. It is a flow-through pillar construction. It has black pillars, and the cool thing, it has a little lanyard post there to secure a lanyard onto. The liner is recessed into the aluminum handles, as well as there's a small pocket milled into the handle to hide the speed safe mechanism. The hardware used for it is all black, so black screws, black pivot. On the back, we have the same design of the Track Tech insert and the grooves, and then we have a awesome Kershaw deep carry pocket clip with the Kershaw logo or wording on there. Awesome. These ones work great and it's fantastic. It is tip up, carry only left or right. So ambidextrous in the carry. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Now, as far as fit in hand, this is a really good blade shape, especially for having that thumb up there. The handle fits good. The ergos are nice for there. But because the blade, when you hold the blade straight, it actually curves down more. So for like a hammer grip, depending on how you want to hold it, you might have to hold lower or higher or just kind of deal with that bump there. But it isn't too terrible, but I could see using it for an extended period of time in a hammer grip might be fatiguing. As far as kind of pinch and to do finer work, it feels fine because the thumb will lock into that groove and the flipper becomes a great finger guard. And the jimping is perfectly aggressive for creating a really strong grip on the thumb. Boom! So that being said, some of the features I want to talk about in comparison is that there are other knives in the Kershaw lineup that have way similar features, and you can tell that they're more or less all designed very similarly. So we are talking about these other knives. So I have a Kershaw Blur and the Kershaw Camber. Now, handle-wise and blade length-wise, the Dash is very similar to a Blur. They both have anodized aluminum handles, very colorful, stone-washed, liner locks, etc. The liner is much thicker on this one than the Blur, but you can see where their similarities draw. The pocket clip's different, but the Blur was the first to have that Track Tech insert gripping, and now it was carried over into this. The Knockout had the aluminum handle scales. I don't have that, but that's where these came from more or less. And the Knockout also had the deep carry pocket clip. Blade shape wise, this actually really reminds me of the Kershaw Piston. Now, if you check the eye in the upper right hand corner, I'll try to put a link to my review of the Kershaw Piston. But it was a very large folder, and it was both a flipper and it had thumb studs, but the blade shape for more or less was the same. As far as handle thickness, these all are about the same thickness. You can see the similarities in the pocket clip with the camber, and the overall blade is just shrunk down. Now, there is another blade offered by Blade HQ, or at least I've only seen it at Blade HQ, and that is the Kershaw Hype, which is very similar to this and more or less is the exact same knife as the Kershaw Camber, just a different milled out pattern and Track Tech pattern on the handle. The other difference is in the blade steels. Now, this is one of my favorite Kershaw knives, and I feel really bummed that they're discontinuing this knife because it is an S30V blade, and it was like $60 to $70, and it's perfect size. Now, it's smaller, and I wish they would have carried that S30V. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a N690 blade steel, so it's really good corrosion resistance and edge retention, but S30V is just a little bit more premium compared to this N690. But check out the Hype. I probably won't get that because I do have the camber, but there is no flow-through construction. The flow-through comes similar to the Blur and whatnot. So you can see the similarities in materials and designs. So that being said, we're going to actually take a look at the size of some of these. I'm going to line the tip of the blades up with this line. Each square is 1 inch long. Boom. So we also have the H&K Access, one of my awesome favorite knives, the Bird Raven 2, and of course everyone's favorite, the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Now, handle-wise, we already compared the Blur and the Dash. Very similar blade, all these other handles seem to be the same length. It looks like the Access is longer and the Paramilitary is longer, but the Dash is about the same as the Raven 2. Blade length, they're all about the same lengths, though it's a little bit longer than the camber. The Access is longer than all of them. I think the Access has the longest blade out of all of them. But for the most part, they're the same. And we'll take some other comparisons here, but just looking. Yeah, so I don't know. Let's check the blade thickness. Now, that's the one that always usually surprises me. Because I do like a more robust thickness depending on the size of the knife. So, oops. Oh no. Bumped the camera. That's a no-no. Alright, so we have the Dash and the Blur. About the same thickness, considering this is CTS BDZ1. We have the Camber. Once again, same thickness. No surprise there because they're both Kershaws. We have the Paramilitary 2. Looks close, about the same thickness. We have the Access. The Access looks thicker. D2 steel. It's a beast, so no surprise that it's thicker. And then we have the Raven 2. CTS BD1, thicker. As far as looks, this is a kind of deceiving little knife, because it does look like it would weigh more. But for the weight, it is fairly light because of those aluminum handles. Last but not least, we have the ugly brown glove test. This test is to see whether or not the knife is usable and comfortable in hand when a person is using or wearing a bulky glove. As far as the grip, the Track Tech inserts feel fantastic. Definitely give me a place to secure my hand when holding the knife. Especially for pinching and deploying it with the flipper. Oh yeah, one last thing. There is jimping on the camber flipper, which isn't always the best, so I do like a smoother flipper, and that's what they have here. They have the polished stonewash flipper. I still protrudes enough for me to get traction or purchase on it to deploy it. That being said, the aluminum handle is kind of slick on the underside in the finger choil. The finger guard does help lock my finger in there, and then the jimping does a really good job of locking my thumb on the spine of the blade. So there's a win there. As far as closing, I'm able to disengage the lock, and it's almost easier to handle a larger knife when you have a bulky glove on, just because there's more of the knife to hold on to. So definitely passes the ugly brown glove test. I'll give it like a 95% on that. Feels really good, easy to deploy, easy enough to close. Awesome job, Kershaw. Ugly brown glove test out. Oops. All right. So that being said, we compared a couple. By the way, check these out. This comes in 4 different colors, similar to like the Blur and all the color variations with that. But right off the bat, it's coming out in 4 different colors. All of them are N690 blade steel. They have a red, they have a green, they have an orange, and they have a black. As far as that other knife I mentioned, the Kershaw Dash, only comes in these 2 colors, so a red and a black. And the camber is no longer being made, so if you want this bad boy, you better try to pick it up. But this is definitely out there. Check out bladehq.com. I'll put the link in the description below. Otherwise, check the eye in the upper right-hand corner for more videos to some of these other knives. And yeah, please like, subscribe, and comment. And give me a thumbs up. Oh, I already said that. But I'll see you guys outside. Thank you.